Hello everyone, I'm Paul from Distant Origins and thank you for watching this video. Yes, this is what I actually look like. Some people have said that with me using the computer voice, they thought I'd look something like this, rather than something that looks like this. So for once I just thought, to hell with it, I'd say,
Hi.
this is my heavily delayed follow-up video to the 3 short videos I did earlier in the year, highlighting 3 possible theories on the causes of the Younger Dryas event. In this video, however, I want to cover the primary suggestion by the mainstream, which is known as the freshwater or meltwater flux theory. To keep this video short, what I'm going to do is have a computer voice run through the series of events as listed in this theory. And I'll be pausing at each step and explaining why I have an issue with that individual part of the theory. So without further delay, here's the freshwater flux theory.
As the Earth slowly warmed at the end of the last ice age, an area of the North American ice sheet melted, forming a vast lake that covered most of central Canada.
How? Why? In a steadily warming environment, if you call this steady, ice retreats, melting from the edges as it goes. It doesn't create a lake contained by a wall made up of the very same ice that has just melted. The only way for this lake to form is if there was some kind of external energy. This could be due to geological features, but we haven't found any. We can also rule out volcanic and seismic activity. There's no evidence of any in that area at this time, since it is unlikely that a strange weather system could have been created in such an environment. All that is left is either a solar event or an impact event.
Eventually, the wall of ice surrounding the lake gave way, unleashing a torrent of water that rushed into the Atlantic. In around 8 to 10 months, 100,000 cubic kilometers of water rushed into the Atlantic.
Now, let's put this flow of water into some form of perspective. We can compare it to the Amazon River of today. The flow, according to this theory, would have been 13 times greater than that unleashed by the Amazon River in a full year, and yet there is no evidence for such a vast body of water moving across North America. We have outlets showing a small flow of fresh water, but this is what you would expect when you've got a great big ice sheet covering a continent. But along the eastern seaboard of the United States,
We hit nothing.
nor is there a sudden surge down the Mississippi, the primary route for meltwater for thousands of years prior to this event.
However, as no evidence for this flow has been found,
I've just said that.
academics have proposed an alternative route. This route sees the meltwater head north, into the Arctic Sea, and flowing into the North Atlantic via the Labrador Current.
Great story. Just a shame all modern research shows that this not to be the case. In fact, it all shows that the warmer the climate gets, the greater the influence the Atlantic has on the Arctic Ocean. The Arctic Ocean simply lacks the force to compete with the Atlantic. It is also highly unlikely that any flow from northern Canada would make it down to the Bering Strait. The natural circular cycle of the Arctic Ocean would simply push this water all the way around Greenland and down towards Iceland.
At this point, this flow of freshwater intercepted the North Atlantic Current, cutting off the conveyor of warm tropical water heading north.
Even if this current of cold water could flow this far south, there is surprisingly little evidence that it would break the North Atlantic Current. The North Atlantic Current, after all, is merely part of a system that encompasses the entire world, driven by some of the most powerful forces we know of, which include the rotation of the Earth, the gravitational forces of the solar system, and even the shape and depths of the oceans themselves. As for the speed of this current, which is something the academics like to bring up a lot when discussing its collapse, it's never been a particularly fast current. If you could monitor a single droplet of water in the current, it would still take over 1,000 years to complete its journey. In fact, it's possible that a droplet of water that struck the hull of the Titanic as she moves south of Ireland is only now passing over the wreck site.
With the current stopped, Europe lost the source of heat that maintained its warmer climate, resulting in the freezing conditions of the Younger Dryas.
No, honestly, it wouldn't. I understand why this is the prevailing belief, not only thanks to movies like The Day After Tomorrow, but also this is a story given to us by scientists. I read a study from as recent as 2007, in which they stated it was a known fact, that the loss of the North Atlantic current would cause an ice age. Yet, by 2014, this has changed. It is now recognised that not only is the current not the only source of heat, it is actually a very distant secondary source. The problems with this theory don't even stop at those already mentioned. The scientists themselves who came up with this theory admit that the initial influx of water would only cause a temporary break. In actual fact, it's believed that even if it did manage to break the North Atlantic current, the current would have been re-established within a few months. And so, to continue to support their theory, they've decided that what must have happened is that there was a continuous downpour of rain, which further diluted the North Atlantic. Yeah, rain. I'm guessing none of these scientists are Welsh. Yet, despite all these issues with the theory, this is still pushed as the factual cause of the Younger Dryas event, even if you ignored everything I've raised here. This proposal doesn't account for several anomalies. Why wasn't the change evenly distributed around the world at the rates equivalent to the current? It doesn't explain why the effects of the Younger Dryas started at the same time in both the Arctic and Antarctic, ended at the same time, and actually even caused the same temperature variations. It doesn't explain why certain parts of the world experienced temperature rises during the Younger Dryas period. The northwest of the North American continent, for example, actually showed a small rise during this period, as do the Andes. I'm honestly amazed that this is still the forefront theory from the mainstream. I'd say that there are a few theories from other mainstream scientists that have far better evidence supporting them. This is what they consider the forefront theory, which blows my mind. Well, that's it, folks. Thank you for joining me again. I hope you come back for the next video, and until then, stay safe. What am I doing now? It looks like I'm... Never mind.